Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SalesBrand show. As always, I'm just going to go in here and make sure that our technology is working. We are good. If you are here live, let us know, hashtag live. If you're catching this on the replay, hashtag replay. I am super, super excited. This is our first interview this year. We were doing some last year, and then I went and I lived in Guatemala, and then we had sort of like a break, and now I'm back. I'm in Texas, as you guys know. And so we're going to be bringing on a lot of experts just like Don, and I'm super excited to have Don here and to be talking specifically about this topic. So sales is so critical. It is so important. And it is like make it or break it for your business. I see so many people thinking about like their idea or thinking like all that stuff is really important for you to do your market research to make it easier. And then at the end of the day, the thing that really, really matters, but some of you that I've had conversations with, I'm like, we need to skip all this stuff in between, and we just need to get you, on some sales calls. You need to start talking to some people, figuring out like it is the thing that you're doing interesting enough, and you're only going to find that out through your sales conversations. So in today's interview, we are bringing on Don Stratton, and I'm super excited. He is going to be talking about how do we become really badass at closing? How do we think about sales, and how do we become more comfortable in the process of actually leading them to a close? So again, super, super excited to have you here, Don. This for anyone who's new in this Facebook group, this is your SalesBrand community. Again, in SalesBrand, we create brands that sell. And so selling is a huge concept of what it is that we're doing here. And we are bringing on experts, and you guys have weekly trainings with me. And there's so much fun. So make sure to invite everyone that you know into our awesome community. And if you're here again, let us know, hashtag live. There we go. Oh, we have Kim is in the house. Albino is in the house. Pete is in the house. Dallas is in the house. If you guys are here, say hello. Jeff is here. Welcome, guys. We're going to be talking about sales. I really wish I had some just sound effects, like the siren. We're talking about sales. And to talk about sales, I'm super excited to have Don introduce himself and share a little bit more, why sales, how long, you have a super interesting story. How did you arrive at sales? And what is it that about closing that intrigues you? And so we're going to be focusing around closing, because sales can be such a big, process. And so we're going to be focusing here on closing strategies, and we could bring you back on if we want to talk more. And also, as you guys are here, let us know, what are your top questions that you guys want us to cover during this exciting interview. So Don, take it away. Let us know a little bit more about yourself. How did you get here, and why sales?
Yeah, talk about an interesting story for sure. So I started off driving a truck 8 years ago and lost that job.
Yeah.
Had to get into something else, and ended up falling into a sales position that was door to door. I mean, I got into one of those desperate situations where I got a family to take care of. I got to work now.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with it. The working with the people, being right there with them, the belief in what I was doing and what the product. I enjoyed it. So I went from there to then transferring on to the online space. And, that's where the big difference hit, because sales face to face was more pushing, the old way of sales with feature benefit, make sure that you're, value stacking everything.
Yeah.
Where closing over the phone is a completely different situation. Here you're talking about more of the prospect and what they need, and where they are with where they're at, in order to show them how you can help with that or can't, one way or the other, finding that out and being okay with either answer.
Yes. I hope you guys wrote that down. We're already starting to drop some gold. He already said it's different. I think so many times, let me know what your experience has been in sales, guys. I know that my experience in receiving sales conversations can oftentimes feel like someone is just trying to push product on you. They're trying to cram this solution, whether it fits you or not, down your throat. And I think that's why sales has gotten this sort of like, you know, and I'll speak for myself. Like I had to work on it. Like when I initially I thought about sales, I was like, oh, I don't know about sales. It feels icky and like, ew, I just like, I feel kind of gross when I think about sales. And what I'm really excited about to talk about, one of the things that I want us to talk about is, you know, the perspective. Like how do we think about sales in a way that with my coaches, what they taught me was sales can be one of the most empowering, beautiful, transformational vehicles out there if done in the right way for the right reasons, which is why I completely want to take back ownership of what it means to sell, right? And so I'm really excited to continue that conversation. So tell us a little bit more of what it is that you're doing with sales now. So you're training around sales, and like you shared, you have some great successes in the world of sales. So you have been one of the top sellers in your space. So
Yep.
share a little bit more about that.
So, yeah, in the place where I received some of my training and built up, they had a team that they invited me to work on just because of the success that they had seen me having, my dedication to putting in the time and being there. And I broke records my first week. I made more closes within that first week than anybody else that had ever just joined the team had. Within the first month, they upgraded me to one of their higher level influencers that they work with, that was selling a larger package. And again, I hit the top sales on the list for the entire team for 2 months running. I have literally collected more than $50,000 in payments over the last 3 months. That's where I'm at now. I currently am working with Procter Gallagher very closely, selling one of Bob Proctor's products itself. And it's been a wonderful and amazing experience.
Yeah, like mic drop. That is incredible. So right off the bat, started breaking some records. And I'm going to be asking about that. I want to learn a little bit more why you think that was the case. Like what set you apart from those people. But before we do, guys, we always start with a little silly question, because while we're, you know, doing serious business and building your business, we want to have fun. Like it just because you're building your business doesn't mean we can't have some fun. And hi, Starla. Again, we're going to say hello to the people who are here. We have Starla, Aaron. I'm going to let Sarvani. Sarvani, let me know if I said your name right. Sarvani, Lucas here, Marina's here, Lori's here, Jacqueline's here, Janet, Jeff, Dallas, Albino, and Kim. If you guys are here, hashtag live, let us know. Again, let us know what are your questions about sales. As we say anything here, right? Like if you're like, boof, that was amazing. That was so cool. Write it in the comments. If you're just like, amen, hallelujah, that was amazing. Put it in the comments. If you have a question, put it in the comments. I'm going to be looking at our comments here. And the more energy that you bring into our comment section, the more energy we're going to bring you.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Amen. Okay. So your question, your silly question of the day is, what is your spirit animal and why? Alice is here live. Jacqueline is here live. Okay. Spirit animal and why?
Spirit animal. See, now that's a fun one. I've been a martial artist for about 8 years. So the 5 animals style with Kung Fu is always fun. But I've always related more to, in my opinion, tigers. Love them. I've had an obsession with Siberian tigers, the white ones, for years.
Wow.
And they're sleek, they're driven, they're to the point. They get a focus on something, they go get it. That's been the drive that has kept me going and built the business that I have now. So yeah, agile, able to pivot when needed.
Do you think that carries over into your success as a top salesperson?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, that drive, that.
Yeah.
And I got to be careful with that though, because salespeople, they hear a drive like that, meaning you're just going to keep pushing somebody until you get the sale.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not the kind of drive I mean. The drive that I have is to make sure that I am helping prospects to make the best decision they can for where they are.
Yeah. So let's dive in there. So traditionally actually, you guys let us know. What do you think of when you think of sales? When you traditionally think of sales, what are some of the thoughts that come up? What are some of the beliefs you have around sales? What are some of the feelings, right? Like what comes up when you think about sales? And, if I said to sell, you have to, how would you finish that sentence? And so we're going to start seeing some of the way that just traditional, just like society and business, the business world has thought about sales. And part of the reason I'm really excited to talk to you, key success factors. Right. Okay, perfect. We have some questions coming in. Keep them coming in, guys. One of the reasons that I'm excited to talk to you is I truly believe that we have to take ownership of what it means to sell. And so talking about, okay, so wait, Luz and Don, you mean to tell us that we don't have to just shove our product down someone's throat? Crazy. Wait, so then what am I supposed to think about? What's supposed to be my perspective? Like how am I supposed to think about a sale even before I get on the phone? As I'm just thinking of the person that I'm going to be connecting with, what should my mindset and my perspective be? Can you talk to that?
Oh, absolutely. And, all of that relates back to the question that has been asked there about qualifying leads ahead of time. What you're talking about here, the mindset wise, needs to be help providing the service, providing the product to somebody because it's something you truly believe is going to benefit the user. That's got to be there. You can't stand on the integrity of what it is that you're selling. You're never going to feel good about it.
So integrity with what you're selling. It sounds like number one is you have to believe in what you're selling.
Absolutely.
If you don't believe that what you're selling is actually going to help and provide value, then you might want to look. Maybe it's not the selling piece that you have a problem with. Maybe you just actually don't believe in the product and you can't get fully behind it. Well, how do you think about, because there's two types of ways that could come up, right? You could have I'm selling knives and I just don't feel super passionately about selling knives. Yes, I think that cutting, potatoes and tomatoes is it provides value. And then there's the oh, I actually, I'm literally, I don't believe. So what would you say that for both of these situations where they're oh, I actually, I feel like I'm actually harming people selling this thing. Would you think that in both of those situations, people should be thinking of well, maybe I should be selling something else? How would you think about those two situations?
Okay, well, in the second situation, if you honestly feel that what you're doing is causing harm, or if the product or service is not providing what the company is trying to claim that it does, you definitely need to step away from it, because that's just going to look horrible on you when you do sell somebody. In the long run, no matter who you are, consciously it will begin to eat at you and you will fall sooner or later. Sleazy salesmen have been able to work their way up. They've never been able to stay. Will always lose if you try to keep pushing. Jordan Belfort, perfect example of that. So the other one, on the other hand, if you've got a product that you're just not passionate about, but you do understand does have a valuable purpose to someone,
yes,
you can shift your perspective not to I believe in what I'm selling, but more to I believe in helping the person who has an interest in this. If you're selling knives, for example, I did work for Cutco for just a little bit, so it's funny you bring that example up.
Yeah.
It wasn't about the knives at that point in time. It was about finding the needs of who I was speaking with. Is this somebody that cooks so much that they actually need this assortment to be able to be productive and feel comfortable in their own kitchen? Or is this somebody that just wants the prestige of saying, I've got the most expensive thing on the market?
Yeah.
Both are viable when you look at helping the person to feel better, not the product.
Yes. So guys, here we're talking about what is the need and what does the person want and also need, right? And we've talked about this before. There's different strategies in terms of you sell what they want and necessarily what they need. You can provide what they need, this sort of separate thing. But you at the end of the day have to think of, do I believe in this thing? Do I have to believe in this thing? Do I believe that I am providing something of service? And can I really focus on the results and the improvement that this is going to provide to the person? And so maybe some of you guys are in a sales situation where you're I'm just doing it because it's paying the bills right now and I'm working on this other thing and I'm having a hard time getting myself motivated to sell this thing. And this is a good tool to have in terms of changing your perspective for now, as you build this thing that you really, really care about, right? So it's like a little in between. So
Absolutely.
So let's see, we have key success factors to generate qualified leads and close deals, best practices and tools. Kim says, to sell, I have to be sleazy. Yes, that's been, I think that's one of those beliefs about sales that a lot of people have, and absolutely doesn't have to be the case. Sometimes I feel nervous telling someone that I have a $1,500 monthly package. The thoughts that come in my head are, man, this is someone's rent. Or what if they can't afford this? That's a really good, I'll want us to address that. Charlotte says, my first encounter was with a used car salesman that sold my mom 2 horrible cars. And these things stay with you. These experiences that you've had with sales, they come to inform your perspectives about sales. I stayed away from sales for years because of that experience. Now, as a realtor, I feel like a salesperson is someone who truly wants to help, whether it be with products or services. Absolutely. So let's we're at this point where we're just thinking about sales perspective. So let's work on shifting the perspective, shifting the narrative. How can we take the narrative from, and we started talking about it, right? Like, it's how do you fulfill a need? Who do you really think about the service that is providing, and this person that's being, at the end of the day, like you're helping them. But how do we take it from like just helping them to actually feeling really powerful and really excited about selling? How do we change the perspective so much that we're like, I can't wait to sell. I love selling and sales loves me, kind of thing, right? Like, what are some of the thoughts that you have? Why do you think you had the success that you had so immediately? What were your perspectives and your thoughts about sales that allowed you to step into that role and so quickly start breaking records? How do you think, and how have you thought about sales?
So that comes down to belief in what it is that you're selling and what you're doing, the offer itself.
Yeah.
You need to believe in what you're doing. And if you don't believe this and you have your own products and services, work on your offer, refine that, because you need to feel like it's an injustice to not fight to get that sale. Do not help this person to change their lives for the better, whichever way, whether it's a product or a service. If I don't do everything I can to help somebody get involved, then I'm not serving them appropriately, because this is something I know is going to change their lives.
Absolutely. Amen. I hope you guys, have this be one of those saved videos and come back for this specific moment. We are, I can't see exactly how or minutes we've been into it. But absolutely, that's right. Like, you should feel, if you can feel about the thing that you're providing so strongly that you feel like it's your moral imperative, that you are actually causing more harm by not sharing with people. And the way that I think about it, and Don, I'd love to get your thoughts on it. The way that I think about it, because I was like, just this word selling can be such a loaded word, right? And so sometimes I'll try to soften it. So the way that I've thought about it that's helped me is an invitation, right? Like an invitation to transformation, to one of the most transformational things that you can do. And so and if you believe, and like I heard this from my coaches who, like, I had to work through my sales stuff, guys. And as I spoke with them, and they totally changed the way that I thought about sales, they taught that same thing of like, well, do you believe in your product? Do you believe in your service? Do you know that if someone goes through your stuff, it will get results? And if you do, and okay, we have to speak to the fact that there's so many coaches in this space. Coaches, I'm going to call you out. You are literally some of the people on the planet. You're trying to change the world. You're trying to help people so much. You believe in what you do so much. You are so gifted that it should be your moral imperative to have sales conversations. It should be, yes.
Just something that was brought to my attention within the first couple of months of my training for working online, and then was reiterated by a friend of mine just today. So, I mean, talk about providential timing. You're not only helping the prospect that you're on the phone with, you've got to look at the butterfly effect around it. Is that if I help this one person to better their lives, they are going to touch a countless number of lives that I'll never even know about, but everybody else that they touch
Mm,
by having been changed.
mm,
That's why my company's motto is changing the
mm,
world one mind at
mhm,
a time. Because
mhm,
one mind changed affects an innumerable
mhm.
amount of people that I'll never even know.
Amen. I got chills thinking about that. And that's right, guys. I want you to think about like I think we believe in you so much, and we believe in what you're doing to better the world. You're only in this community because you're a big-hearted person, and because you're trying to make the world a better place, right? Like as sales branders, yes, you're trying to create brands that sell, that make profit, and then what's the last piece of what we do? To change the world. Like we're in here, we're creating communities to change the world. And so it doesn't stop at that sale. And that's so powerful, Don. Like I'm still getting chills. Like the impact of that sales conversation where someone, and let's talk about this, Don. So when someone buys a product or a service, we have a lot of services here. When someone buys something, are they buying, what are they buying? They're buying the results, right? So like it's not even about you. I think sometimes we make it about us and it's like they bought my thing. No, they bought their transformation. Can you speak to that?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's, yeah, a lot of people have worded it in some really strange ways, and you're right. People don't buy a bed; they buy a good night's sleep.
Mm, mm,
People aren't buying a car; they're
mm.
buying comfortable. They're buying to show off to somebody else. They're buying
Yes,
to fit their family. It's not about the item or the product or the service itself. It's
yes,
about the problem it solves for them.
yes.
So, yeah, definitely. You are not selling a coaching program. You are
Mm-hmm.
selling somebody a new outlook on whatever situation
Mm,
it is you are teaching
mhm.
them to look at from a different angle.
Yeah. And when someone, so my first coaches, they were love coaches. They said, Luz, you are not general manager of the universe. It's not on you to like, you can't control whether someone, like you're not that powerful that you inviting someone or selling someone would force them to buy. Everyone is a responsible adult who has total responsibility and ownership over the decisions that they make. And so you have the space of sharing this gift that you have to the world, and they get the ownership of whether they say yes or not. And if you believe in the thing that you're providing, it is your moral imperative to change the world and make it better by letting people know about it. And by you selling doesn't mean you're forcing anything or anyone. You should do it. We've already talked about doing it in integrity, doing something that you believe in. But I just know so many of you here, you like so believe in your thing. And sometimes you're holding yourselves back because you're like, I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be salesy. And so how can we think about that, Don? Like when people think like, I don't want to be pushy, I don't want to be salesy. How can we tie that to this whole like, well, but do you believe like that? What are we taking away the harm by you not sharing your thing?
Right. And so that really comes down to something that I thought about here. I was trying not to interrupt, but there's a neat little secret to exactly what you're talking about right there.
Ooh,
People get
secrets.
so scared of pushing
Yes.
and trying to force,
Yes.
feeling like that's what they need to do, when the exact opposite is actually true.
Hmm.
Try to help them find a reason why they shouldn't.
Ooh, okay.
If you can help them find a reason why they should not move forward, then maybe you're going to learn that it's not a good idea for them at this time. But the more you try to ask the right questions to find out whether this is really where they need to go, the more they're going to convince you how much they need.
That was genius. I hope you guys wrote that one down. I've never heard that one. That's really, really good. Trying, I've never heard someone say that, but it's true. Like, because at the end of the day, I know all of you here, you're trying to do sales from integrity. You're selling your thing because you want to make the world a better place. And so if that's the premise at which we're arriving at the sale, you really only want people in your program and your service that are actually going to get the results that you say you provide. And so by talking to them and guiding them to why this might not be the right opportunity for them, it's super interesting, but it would allow you to have that integrity and saying like, I'm like, look, I'm really here for you. Like I want us to understand that this is actually the best product, the best service, the best fit for you. Can we talk? Yep. It sounds like you have a.
I'm just saying, there's also the psychological side to that.
Yeah.
When it comes to actual sales, that when you've got somebody who has said they're interested and they've gotten on the phone with you, and then you try to tell them maybe this isn't where you need to be right now, it is a person's instant response to go against what they feel a salesperson is saying.
Oh, that's really funny. Huh.
That's why, I mean, look, all of us do it. You walk into a store and the first person walks up and says, hey, how can I help you? Oh, I'm just looking.
Yeah.
Your first response, I'm just looking.
Yeah.
You know dang good and well you went into that store for a purpose.
Yes.
But you tell them you're just looking.
Uh-huh.
Right? Now, at the same time, if somebody then, walks up and instead of offering help, says, hey, I'll be over here. Let me know if you need me. Now you're, where can I find,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah,
I've done that. It's the way our minds work. It's just, we like to buy. We don't want to be sold.
Ooh, okay. I need you guys to write that down. Like, no, because it's true. People love buying. They don't, and my mentors have said this all. It's this lie that we hate, like that people don't like sales. People love buying. They just don't love being sold to. And so it's like, and that's why we do sales branding, is when people do like buying, and the branding just lets you become the magnet so the right people come to you. But it's not that people don't want to buy stuff. Like, people are looking for your stuff literally all over the world. They just don't want you to, like, again, be doing, especially how we traditionally think about sales. Something else that you mentioned, and let me make sure that I get everything that's in here. We have Kim saying, me too. Thank you, Jacqueline, for letting us know that around the time. And then Albino, what are your beliefs about selling that helped you get such great results? What do you tell yourself when selling? Could you describe your inner game? Let's do that before I ask my next question. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, beliefs about selling that helped me get to where I'm at, where I've already spoke to. The fact that I believed in what it was that I was selling, to the point that I felt it was an injustice to not help somebody use it.
Yeah.
As for the telling myself, the inner game, that is a beautiful question, because self-talk is so important.
Yes.
And it's the reminder that no matter what the result is, good or bad, whether, and I shouldn't even say good or bad, whether they decide to work with me or they do not.
Yeah.
So long as it is in their best interest, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
You detach yourself from the money, from the sale, and you focus on the person.
Yeah.
So that helps a whole lot. That's what I have to go through in my head, especially after a bad call, after one that just really does not go your way, because sometimes it's going to happen even when you're good. You got to take that minute to, you know what, that wasn't the right time for them. That's okay. This next person, I need to help and find out what's right with them. Yeah. Not let the other one. So there's the inner game, and that's the whole point, is really keeping the focus on the person I'm talking to, not the result.
Amen. Amen. Keep the questions coming. Let us know if you guys are loving this. What are the highlights? What are the things that you're taking away? Anything that's like, and I love that Charlotte's just pressing the love button. You guys can keep sharing the love. All right. So we have talked about how it's really important. It's the most important to actually listen, right? And to get to know the person. So we've heard about, question-based selling. So I heard from one of my mentors, you can talk yourself out of a sale, but you can almost never listen your way out of a sale. And so can we talk about question-based selling, and what should be the purpose? What should be the purpose of you going into a sales conversation?
The purpose should be to qualify almost every time. Find out, do they really need it?
So at the beginning, you're starting by qualifying.
Absolutely. You need to find out, do they need it? Is this actually what it is that they're looking for? Are they in a position to afford it? And can they make the decision themselves right now? Those are the three things, because we all know the killer one. No, I've got to talk to my spouse.
Yeah, yeah.
Got to talk to. You need to find out, can they even make the decision? You can find all of that out within the first 10 minutes just by asking a few questions.
Yeah.
So questions are definitely going to be the most important thing. You should follow the 80-20 rule here. They should be doing 80% of the talking. You should only be doing 20.
Can you guys write that down? 80-20. 80% of them talking, not you talking. 20% is you talking. I hope you guys are writing all of these things down in your little handy dandy notebook. So structure of a call. So as you were thinking of structure of a call, you're qualifying, you're answering, do they need it? Are they in a position to afford it? And can they manage to make that decision right now?
Yep.
So can we do like a pretend call?
Absolutely.
And you can, okay. All right. So I am selling, so let's see, like we have a lot of coaches here. So I will do my coaching package of, I'm just making this up on the spot, guys, of 10 coaching calls. And let's say it's $5,000. Okay. So we get on the phone. So you're selling that. And yeah, so you're selling me. So I'm like, Hey, Don, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. Really excited to jump on the phone here and learn more about the incredible work that you do.
Awesome. I appreciate your time today. And because I respect both of our times, I'd just like to say that, we've got, about 30, maybe 45 minutes for the call that I blocked out for today. So yeah, I'd really just like to ask you a few questions, find out a little bit about where you're at, where you'd like to be. And let's find out if I've even got something that can help you to get through that or not. If I find out that it is, I'll definitely invite you to jump on board. And if I, somehow feel that it's not, that's perfectly okay. I'll let you know that as well. No pressure at all on this call. That sound fair?
Sounds really fair.
Awesome. Good. So what do you know about the program already? What brought you to wanting to talk to me in the first place?
Yeah, well, I heard from a friend about you, and my friend said that you are an incredible sales coach. And I'm trying to make up your package that you're offering here. So I'm just going to pretend that you're selling sales coaching. So I heard you're an incredible sales coach, and I just, I want to up my game in sales.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. So how long have you been in sales now?
I have been, I've been working on my own business on and off. I started doing this coaching thing for 3 months now.
Okay. Okay, you've been doing it for 3 months. And so what, at this point, has you feeling like you need to do something to change what you're currently doing?
Yeah, well, I would like to get more clients. And as I'm doing these things, I'm thinking of all the conversations I've had with all of you guys. I want to increase the number of clients that I have. And I know that I can really help people and serve people. And I want to increase the number of clients that I have so I can, serve them more.
Okay. All right, absolutely. So, how many clients are you currently working with? I guess
yeah,
that's a good place to start.
I have 4 people that I'm working with that are, part of this package, and I'd like to have 10.
Okay, you'd like to have 10. Okay, good. That was going to be my next question.
Great.
Was, what could you handle up to that point? And so, what have you been doing up till now to reach those clients that you've got?
Okay, we're gonna pause here. Can you dissect the things that you've done so far?
Oh, absolutely. So the very first section of that is what we normally call setting an agenda. And that is just structuring out the call. I'm letting you know that, first of all, I've got respect. We understand we're busy people. We both run businesses. So this is going to be under a time limit. And I'm going to be asking a bunch of questions. I'm letting you know that from the get-go. This is what I need from you. Mm-hmm. And then that last little question on there is really kind of a trick question. Does that sound fair to you? Nobody's going to say, no, that's not right. You can't ask me a bunch of questions. They're just not.
That's really good.
So yeah, they're going to agree to that at that point. And now you've got the right to ask what you need to qualify. Mm-hmm. Then I've got to find out what you already know. Mm-hmm. You need to know this. Now, this also goes back to your marketing, your messaging. There's a lot that goes into what somebody knows before they get to the call with you. But you need to know, what have they paid attention to? What are their desires out of this information? Mm-hmm. That's what that's going to tell you. What you already know about what I'm doing. Why? Get on the call.
So you're asking them why they hopped on the call with you.
Correct. That way
That's
they
really
tell
good.
you what they want. They're telling
Yeah,
you right then and there, this is what I need to know if you can do for me.
got it. Yeah, yeah.
Right? So all of your questions from there are finding out exactly what it is that they need so that you can make sure that the offer you give speaks directly to it.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier talking your way out of a sale.
Yes, yes.
A
Let's
lot
talk
of
about that.
times, right, and a lot of times people would get to their pitch near the end of the call
Hmm.
and they'll just go through the entire details of everything they do.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Well, what happens there is if you've got two, three, four details in there that they don't need, you just devalued your service in their eyes.
Hmm.
But if you only speak to the things specifically they want to get out of it, you're
Hmm.
increasing the value instead.
Yeah. Okay. So we wanted to focus on the closing part, right? So many of you, I've heard you guys, you're like, we're having this conversation, and they're like, yes, I'm excited, I love your thing, and then it's time, dun dun dun, it's time for you to talk about your price. It's time for you to sell. They're excited. They're like, yes, me more. Yes, this would change my life. Yes, this is amazing. They're there with you. And then it's that time where you're like, oh, well, okay, now I have to tell them about my pricing and like, okay. So, what is the mindset? Let's start with mindset. When it's that sort of transition time of going from, okay, we're connecting, we're learning all the things. This is easy. I'm a coach. Like, I can connect people all day, every day. And then it's time to like, okay, well, this is what I offer. What should people's mindset be in that sort of transition phase?
Very certain. You need to
Mm,
be very certain and speak with conviction. If
mm-hmm.
they have been spending this time telling you this is what I need, yes, I think this is going to work, then you need to just speak directly to that. Okay, great. If you feel this is going to work, now here's one more little thing that I would add to that. After asking somebody or having somebody say, yes, this is what I want,
Yeah.
ask them why.
Okay, so you're going to ask them, do you think that this is going to work? And then you're going to ask them why they think it's going to work. Okay, guys? Are you guys
Right.
writing that down? Okay.
Exactly. So, in your opinion, do you feel that this program, this service, this whatever, is going to help you to get to where you're looking at? And if they say yes, it sounds like it would work. Okay, well, why is it that you feel that way?
Mm-hmm.
Let
Mm-hmm.
them tell you this. Look, people may or may not believe anything you tell them.
Yes, yes.
People do believe what they say.
Yeah.
So when
Yeah.
you ask them why they think it's going to work, they're just speaking out loud and convincing themselves that this is the way they need to go.
Yes. Yes. Yes, Susan, get in those comments and let us know. So Susan is writing some highlights here. Do you think it's going to work for you and why? Yes, absolutely. Kim says, I had a woman say, oh, I didn't know it was going to cost me something. Okay. We'll be talking about qualifying. That was the next question that I wanted to ask you. So qualifying is really, really, really important. But before we do that, so you are, in your opinion, do you think this program will help you to get what you want? Great. And then, because so what I was going to say is, I am known as a talker. I know that's shocking to everyone here, and I'm the sort of person that has to be like, don't say anything, just ask questions, just keep it in, right? And I am going to share my experiences so you guys learn from me. So sometimes what I have done in the past in sales conversations, so I'll be like, this is why you need it, and it's gonna, it has this shiny thing and that thing and that thing and that thing. Yes, I know. Don, he's like, oh no. Versus, I love this guy, so I hope you guys took notes. Versus you telling, and I'm sharing this because I know I'm not the only person who's done this. Let me know in the comments if this has been you. You're like,
I've done it. I had to learn the hard way not to.
Yeah, because like you feel this sense of scarcity, and you're like, well, let me convince you. Let me tell you all the reasons. And what Don is telling us, we're going to shift that. They are going to tell you why they need this, why this is going to work for them. And then I have a little question. So you said that you would ask them. So is then the follow-up question, why would this not work for you? Because you said you want them to talk about, like, talk to, what is it, like, they should share why this isn't the right product for them,
Right.
to make sure that it's the right. So like, when in the sequence does that come in?
So right there, after I ask why they feel that they think it would help them to achieve their goals, I then ask them, so why is that important for you to get done now?
Mm-hmm.
Let them explain why they need to do something about it. And then my next question is, so why now and not in a couple of months? Why not wait?
Mm-hmm. Yes, because we have to add urgency, guys. Urgency really, really, really matters. So why not now and not later?
Right. And this also, on the other hand, it helps with urgency because it helps them think, yes, I need to do this now, but it eases
Mm,
tension as well. You're saying, why not wait?
mm,
It's okay.
mm, mm-hmm,
That makes
mm-hmm.
people not feel pressured.
That's really good.
But the
Yep.
pressure that they do feel is from themselves internally that, yes, I need to get this taken care of,
Mm,
not
mm.
from you.
Do you guys see how this is so genius? This is like sales aikido. So it is. It's like
That's true.
they're doing the work. I don't know what sort of sales training. I've done all the sales training. I read all the books, and in so many of them, um, it felt like, I don't know, like so often I felt like I had to convince people. And here what you're doing is like you're getting through all of the parts of the sale, but you're not doing the work. It's 80% them talking and you're just asking the right questions. And they like, we hear you have to build urgency and you have to like have it to be timely. And sometimes I know I'm falling into the trap of like, I'm telling you why you should feel urgency. And this is genius. This is a keto. And this is, well, tell me why now and not later.
And I'd like to just say one more thing. That question,
Yeah.
I may have worded it wrong. Do you think this is going to work for you? That's not the right way
Oh,
to word that
right.
question.
Okay.
You're going to want to ask, in your opinion, or from what you've heard so far, do you feel like this will help you reach, and then mention their goals specifically? If you
Yeah.
ask somebody outright, do you think this is going to work for you? Then, well, I don't know. Is it?
Yeah.
That'll start adding doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. Elise here says, hey, Smirty. Susan's here. Elise says, I was told that providing value in the conversation and giving them quick business tips, or in my case, Instagram tips in a sales call helpful, or should I we stay away? Very good question. So I think should we, because there's this concept, especially for a lot of the coaches and service providers here. It's like, do I start solving their problems on the sales call? Do I actually give them advice? Or how should I think about providing value while not necessarily giving advice?
Right. Okay. So this goes back to mindset big time, which is a massive. I'm very, very big on making sure mindset is right, and abundance. Having that
Yes.
abundance mindset and understanding that there's not a limitation means you can talk about whatever you want to on the call. You can give them, you can show them. And by giving that, that's definitely a good thing to do, because by doing so, you're showing them that you're over delivering. You're helping with these things
Mm,
before they've ever even paid you. How much more is the paid content going to
mm,
do?
mm,
So
mhm,
that's absolutely a good thing to do. Being
mhm,
scared to do that, again, that shows scarcity. That shows that
mm,
you don't believe that you've got enough information to make up
mm,
one phone call, right?
mhm,
So
mhm.
yeah, that's a big mindset thing.
So you would say definitely share, like create value. That's
Yep.
that's beautiful. Okay, so one thing. So yes, we've talked about closing. We talked about the structure of the sales call. This has all been amazing. And then I want to take us sort of like way back before the sales call even happened into qualifying. So, or where, because qualifying can fit in at multiple stages of the sales process. So for you, how do you structure in the qualification?
Okay. So now, okay, I guess I got to watch how I'm talking to people here. You guys are coaches who are selling your own programs for the most part. I'm not working with
Yes.
somebody else. I'm trying to explain how to do it.
Yes, everyone here is selling their own stuff.
Right. So that's going to be put together in your offer in the first place. What brought them to you? You need to have two major important things figured out properly before you ever even start with a first message. You need to know what exact problem you solve and who needs it solved.
Can we all go back to pillar number 1 and pillar number 2 from the SalesBrand Passion to Profit Blueprint. You guys know how we talk and focus so much on pillar number 1, making sure that you're building the right business in the first place. And then pillar number 2, making sure that you're solving the right problem for the right people. Remember, like, I get so passionate about pillar number 2, guys, because I'm like, do you want to make money? Well, pick a product which is solving a pain point that's an urgent and specific pain point for a niche out there, a group of people who are already paying, who they're accustomed to making investments, so you're not making it really, really hard for yourself, and it's easy to find them. Okay, so that's
people shoot themselves in the foot by looking at that from the wrong direction. They think, I want to help as many people as I can, and so they're not talking to anybody specifically enough. And if you're not talking to a specific person, you're not talking to anybody.
Amen. Amen. So we've talked about this, guys. I hope, like, if you didn't do the training here where we talked about niching, go do the training. Just do a search in the group and look for niche. And then we did a training on niching. And I talked about how if you do not niche, you are actually micro niching yourself. You're niching yourself by just because you haven't niched, and you're only selling then, well, making it really easy to sell to and attracting the people that are not confused by your message, probably the people that know you, and only the people that like you meet in person. And that is making your life so much harder. So making it super clear, what is the pain point, the urgent specific pain point for the right market, the right niche that has the ability and the willingness to pay, is like, you just have to start there. Pillar number 2.
Here's something that one of my mentors told me, is that there's 3 different types of people or methods that you can speak to people from. There's me too, which is the majority of people that go out there. Yes, I do that too. Come talk to me.
Yeah.
There's me better. Yes, I do that, but I do this, this, and this as well. And then there's where you should be, and that's me only. This is how I can solve this that nobody else can. And when you can craft your offer in that manner, that helps you to stand out. That helps you to make sure that the people that are coming to you, they know you're talking to them.
Yes. I will have us pointing then to pillar number 3 of the blueprint, guys, where we talk about the system that you're creating and what's setting you apart. That literally, when you create your framework, when you create your system and you give it a name, and literally you're the only person on the planet that can teach your thing in the way that you teach it. So sales branding, I am the CEO and founder of Sales Branding. No one can teach the system unless they get a license from me, because they couldn't have come up. So like, there is no competition for Sales Brand because it's the only, right? And then you can license people. This is, getting out. So we can talk more about this. If you guys want us to do a training on that, let me know in the comments. So that's super important pre-work that we've talked about here, guys. So now let's talk about sort of the system. So say for me, what I'll do is just branding is super important, guys. Talk about, qualifying. Your branding qualifies you. If you want to waste less time, you have to be branded in the right way so the right people are attracted to you. And then when you get on those phone conversations, those Zoom conversations, those in-person conversations, you're having conversations with the right people. Okay, so do you recommend like an application? I do an application where people have to. Yes. So great. So let's talk about the application. So for you guys who are like, an application, what is an application? Tell us what is an application and how does it serve in terms of qualifying people? And what does it mean to qualify?
Right. Well, qualifying is making sure that this is the right person. Yes. They may think that they are based on something they've heard.
Correct.
But these questions need to weed out those that, okay, yeah, maybe not. Or yes, let's go.
Yes.
That's where the application is going to come in. This is also where you can keep from ever having anybody say, I didn't know this was going to cost anything again.
Yes.
By asking in that questionnaire, are you prepared to invest in improving yourself, both time and financially?
I have a question. So I have a lot of, I encourage a lot of the people in this community to start at a premium level, right? So I don't encourage people, especially because there's services here. I don't encourage you guys to start at the like low tier level. I encourage you guys to start at the high tier level. So since a lot of the people here are starting with premium services that they're providing, I think sometimes the question is, well, should I, there's two, like the question is twofold. Should I include sort of like, how do they know that I'm a premium? One is by your branding, but how do they know I'm not going to be $300? I'm going to be like $5,000. I'm going to be $10,000. So do I include that both on my website? Should they know about my pricing beforehand? And then in the application, should they include something about the level? Because you can invest at a $500 level, and then you can also invest at the 50,000 level or the 20,000 level. And so how do you qualify within, okay, yeah, sure, I'm ready to invest in myself. I can pay, like $30 a month versus, no, I am super serious about this and I am going to invest, $6,000. How do you differentiate between those levels for your services?
That's a lot. And the first part of it, you already know because it's part of what your business does. Your perceived value based on your branding in the first place.
Can we get a boop, 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 boop? Your branding is so important. If you want to charge lots of money, guys, you got to look like money. You got to look like $1 million. So sales branding, get in that. Okay.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, that's perceived value is the biggest thing. I use this all the time in my sales calls, even as a pointer, but it works in this situation too. Your perceived value. If I've got a 2019 Ferrari that's only got 7 miles on it, brand new, just off the block, and I'm selling it for $50,000, you're going to think that's cheap. But in whose life is $50,000 cheap? Mm-hmm. It's the perceived value of the vehicle, mm-hmm. not the dollar amount that really matters. Mm-hmm. Money is never the real issue.
Yes.
Ever.
Can you guys write that down? Money is never the real issue. Can we write it down 10 times? Money is never the real issue. Okay, what is the real issue?
The real issue is perceived value. Does it truly speak to exactly what they need?
Does it solve my problem? Does it solve my urgent and specific problem?
Which, again, for qualification goes to asking the right questions to find out, do they have this problem? Is this where you are? Yes or no? Is this particular statement something that you find yourself looking for answers to? Yes or no? Find these things out. When it comes to the investment level, there's a couple of different ways you can do that. Branding should speak to it, first of all. Making sure the question is bare minimum asked, are you prepared to invest in moving forward with something like this? But I've even seen some, depending on the service, especially if you have multiple tiers, saying, maybe a checkbox or a drop-down list. Are you comfortable investing between this or this, or between this or this, in order to have this problem solved?
Comfortable in investing. I love that. I love that wording. Comfortable in investing, and then you give them options. Okay.
Yep. So those are ways you can do in the application to find out before they ever even get to you, whether this is something they'll consider or not. Now, that's also.
I have a question.
Yeah, please.
I have a question there. So, and this is something that I've thought about. So, when it's very clear that they're not qualified, do you then just send an email? Because your time is precious. You can't be on someone that's not qualified. So how do you softly, lovingly, say these are the ways that you can be supported, but actually right now a phone call with one of our team members or a phone call with me is just not the right place to begin.
Right. And that starts off with, like you said, just a simple email. If you know by some of the questions that it seems pretty obvious, ask the question. Send a simple message. Hey, I'm looking over your application. I see you've scheduled with us here.
Yeah.
I've seen this answer here, and I'm not quite sure that fits with what we're looking for.
Yeah.
It may be better to, look at that at another time, or, maybe you should look at this option instead.
Yeah.
Or maybe explain to me why I'm misunderstanding and we need to move forward. Give them the chance to still go forward. Don't just say, hey, no, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
Ask about it.
And you were going to say something and I jumped in and I asked you that.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, it needs to also be said that just because somebody, if you've got 3 options on there and one of them's, 1,000 to 5,000, 5 to 10 and 10 to 20, and somebody picks that, 1,000 to 5,000 level, doesn't mean that they won't spend 10. So don't just automatically think, okay, I can't pitch my higher level product because they picked a lower number. Judge that while you're on the call. Start up top and work your way down. Never go the other way around.
Okay, can you guys write that down as well? We have so much gold. Kim is saying, wow, mind blown. I down. Write it down. Start at the top and then work your way down. This is going to be your down sales. And so back to the blueprint, this is your wedding cake, right? This is your value ladder. So depending on where you are on the blueprint, maybe you just have one offer and that's it. That's okay. Maybe you don't have a downsell. And initially what you want to do is you just want to have enough money coming in that you're comfortable, and you can start building the other tiers. But if you do have multiple tiers of things that you can offer, start at the top. Well, I actually have a question for you. Some and another concept that I really liked in terms of sales is you should think of yourself as the doctor. When someone goes to a heart surgeon, the heart surgeon says, okay, well, these are your options. You can get this like super fancy surgery here, and this is the likelihood of you getting better. You can get this like sort of medium tier, or you can try just these pills, and this is so. The concept was that you should prescribe rather than giving them options. You should say like, and really coming from a place of integrity of like, okay, I really hear you. I really understand where you're coming from. Of my wedding cake, of like the multiple offers that I have for you, my prescription to you is I think you should start here. Or do you think it's like a one size fits all, always start at the top? Or it's like understanding that person, start at the highest thing that's going to be the right thing for them.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, you want to start at the highest one that seems like it's going to fit their needs. Don't try to sell them the most expensive thing you've got that has 4 options that they're never going to use. Mm-hmm. Definitely keep it at the highest tier of what they need to have.
Absolutely.
But for your pocketbook's sake, only offer one at a time. Don't say you can go this way or you can get this one instead, because people will always take the lower offer if you put it that way. Stick with the first one and go that way. That's just psychology. People are like, well, it's less money. I'll go that way and see what happens.
Yeah.
So always start with the highest tier that actually fits their needs.
Yeah.
From where they are.
So question. So you share that, you prescribe, this is what I think is going to be best for you. And then you guys talk about whether that can happen. And it's only after you've had a conversation and they're either a yes or a no. And if the answer is a no, it's only at that point that you would say, okay, if that doesn't work for you, then like this is something else that can support you. Or when would that, how does that Aikido work?
So here's where the system falls back to some of the old school type sales techniques that do still work. I'm not going to drop tier or downsell until they've told me no at least 3 times.
I love that, guys. 3 times. They have to say no 3 times for the thing that you've prescribed them, the highest tier that's going to be the right tier for them. Okay. Right.
So the first thing you're going to ask when they say they can't do it for whatever purpose is find out, is it because of funds available or because you're not sure if it's actually worth it yet? You need to know where that's at, because you may have screwed up something earlier and they don't know that you've got their problem solved yet. It may not be about the money at all. So you want to ask that. If they don't have funds available at the time, now you talk about what ways can we get there. You said earlier you need this problem solved now. If you're ready to get out of this situation, you believe this can do it. What options do we have available to see about moving forward? This is where your belief in what you're doing comes in very strong. You've got to believe in what you're doing enough to have that kind of conversation. If there's any doubt whatsoever that you're actually going to help them with it, you're going to crumble the second they push against it. So, yeah, make sure that whatever offer you've got crafted for yourself or whatever you're doing, you fully believe you can produce the results you say you can. If you believe that, there's no reason for you to not try to explore options to find a way to get it done before downselling.
I love that. Find a way to get it done before downselling. This has been so good. All right, guys. I want to be respectful of your time, Don. You guys have been absolutely amazing. We have Susan here who's taking amazing notes for everyone here. We have Kim and Ofer. I think it's going to be Ofer. Albino asking some questions. Let's see. And if you guys have one last question, 1 or 2 last questions, can you take 1 or 2 last questions?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. How do you share your value proposition? Why you're different from your competition without seeming pushy or needy or a bad listener? Thoughts?
Question. So that's one of the reasons why I started off when we were role playing with what have you done up to this point? I need to know where you've been and where do you feel it's off. That way way you can speak directly to the problem they're having that you can solve instead of, all right, so a very old book by Sanders. I don't know if some people have heard of the Sanders sales method or not, but he calls the old feature benefit thing dumping the candy. Where you're literally taking just a big bowl of a bunch of stuff, dumping it on the table and hoping they snatch one. That's what happens when you start throwing out your offer in that old sleazy type manner. Well, I'm going to take care of this, 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 and this. And you're hoping they say, "Ooh, I need that one." Or instead, you can ask the questions and find out what is it that you need. What are you looking for? What would you like me to help you with? Yes, I can do that. No, I can't. If I can, here's how. And that's how you separate yourself, because you're not just trying to, again, value stack and dump a bunch of bricks on their head. You're finding out specifically what they need and then speaking directly to it.
Awesome. Well, Don, thank you so much. If you guys have any last questions, Starla saying, thank you so much. Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation point. So great. Okay, I added the so. This was great. Exclamation points. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. Can we all say a huge, huge, huge thank you to Don? We're starting something where we do wishes. I borrowed this from a lot of the communities I'm in. So we're all going to send Don a whoosh of all goodness and prosperity and love and all the good things that you want. And again, whoosh to you guys all who are part of this community. I am so grateful and so honored and privileged to have you be part of the SalesBrand community. Love you guys so much. We will continue to bring on experts. If you guys have specific topics that you want me to cover and bring on an expert, let me know in the comments. We're getting whooshes. Yes, whooshes. Thank you, Jacqueline. And if people want to find out more about, you and like, where can people find you?
Well, Facebook's the easiest way. Either, throw out, my name here. You can just click on it if I'm tagged in the post or whatnot. That's going to be the best way to find me. I don't really have a web presence really that explains much else that doesn't directly speak to a program or something that I'm selling. So I'm not trying to, promote anything in that manner. But just right here on Facebook, please feel free, add me, ask any questions you like. I'm one of the biggest proponents. If you haven't read the book, The Go-Giver, please do. I live by it. I'll answer questions till my face is blue. I don't mind.
Well, thank you so much, Don. Super appreciated the integrity and the heart and the strategicness and it was such a value-packed interview, and you gave people here so much. And so just on the behalf of the entire SalesBrand community, we really appreciate you and your time, and lots of wishes to you. And we'll see you again. We'll have you here. And if you guys have questions, he's opened up himself to answer some questions. So thank you guys. Love you guys. Thank you, Don. And that is it for today, guys. I will catch you again next Tuesday, and then figure out who our next expert's going to be. It's going to be good. You guys just let me know in the comments, what do you want? Okay, bye everyone.
Thank you. Have a good one.